Walk with me for a few minutes. But first of all, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah. How many of you are excited about the holiday season, the giving season? Got some warm and fuzzy feelings for the month of December. It's always a fun time of year, interesting time of the year. Personally, I love this time of the year. I just love the feeling. I love the family. I love to be able to have an excuse to give and watch people's response and reaction and energy when they receive. How many of you guys have a warm place in your heart for the holiday season? But I also know that this time of the year can also be a challenging time for many people. Matter of fact, a lot of studies year after year after year after year, this isn't new information, say that December is among the most stressful times of the year for so many people. And it makes sense, right? This year is busy. There's so much going on. So many things kind of coming to a close in the calendar year. A time of renewal, refresh, restart, rejuvenation, a time of new around the corner. The financial pressure that gets put on a lot of people and a lot of parents and a lot of families this time of the year to balance what, sometimes we want to do and want to give with maybe what is financially responsible of what we can do and can give, among so many other things. It's a time where maybe not only we connect with relationships and friends and family, but maybe a time where it reminds us of those we can no longer have or connect with. And even though year after year after year, it's been known that this can be a stressful time of the year, that's before pandemic, before COVID, before what has become just coined as 2020 standalone. Enough said. And with everything peaking right now with COVID and most of the country and really now most of the world going back toward tighter restrictions, more rules, more limitations, tighter lockdown. I know here in Los Angeles County, California, we're definitely that direction. Guys, I think this time of the year, if we were to be really open and transparent, is a super stressful time for many of us. And I'm seeing that just in my own kind of peer group and social circle. How many of you are seeing that with people you love and care about, that the stress seems to be rising, the stress seems to be peaking, the stress maybe seems to be an all-time high? Maybe how many of you are experiencing even some of that in yourself, where you're finding yourself operating at a higher level of stress right now than really you want to? And I just want to say, guys, hey, that's normal. And that's happening. And it's not just you and not just your loved ones. It's happening all over the place right now. And I want to talk about that concept of stress and dig a little deeper than maybe you've done, or get you to think in a way maybe you haven't thought, beyond just what's triggering it and the rational or mental aspect of feeling stress, but really what's happening to our body physically, biologically, when we're going through these states of stress right now, that maybe we haven't even thought about the possible consequences of that. Because the reality is, we can't keep our body in a state of constant peak of stress. It's not healthy. It's not good. And unpack that, and obviously, like we tend to do on our walks together, maybe provide a thought or an idea, a little gentle nudge of a solution. Beyond even just a solution, what I would even call maybe the antidote, maybe even so go so far to say the vaccine to stress this time of the year. How many of you guys like the sound of that? So before we dive into the topic, I want to know who's by my side. Here I am, getting to the top, almost to the top here, Santa Monica Mountains. Who's by my side this morning? Don't be shy, say hello below. Where are you at? Where are you from? What's one thing that you look forward to in the December month, the giving season? Tell me below. If you're new to the crew, welcome. We walk together, generally weekly. Try to do it on Wednesdays. Walk with me Wednesdays if you want to remember. Tune in live. But even if you're catching the replay, we love participation. I want to know your thoughts. I want to know your feedback on what we're talking about, as if you were right by my side, as if we were together. And please, all of us is always better than some of us, so please share any insight or wisdom you have. It'll help me. I read every comment. It'll help everybody else virtually along our side this morning that reads the chain below. Almost to the top. Went with strawberry peach ketones this morning. How many of you guys are already drinking ketones? If you're not drinking ketones, you're missing out on the best energy source. I'm just saying. So let's talk about this concept of stress. First question for all of you. When I say stress, what comes to mind? What's your association to even that word? For many of you, I'm willing to bet you're feeling something right now, and maybe you're thinking about what I would call a trigger, the things that create that feeling in our own lives. We all have triggers that cause a stress feeling or a stress response. And for many of us, those triggers are very different, but all of us have them. And for many of us, when we think about what makes us stress, we think about the things that make us feel that way. But I want to kind of define stress, not by the things that give us the response, but by the response itself. You guys see, stress is a physical response. It's a biological response. It's a chemical response. It's actually an automatic response built in to all of us. And it's designed to really protect us. It's designed to be functional. It's designed to be something that helps us survive first and foremost, in response to things that our body perceives as fear or as bad or as a threat. And the easy way to kind of define stress is a response that either leads to fight, flight, or freeze. And I'm sure most of us have heard that before. The part of our body that is responsible for this is actually part of our nervous system, specifically our parasympathetic nervous system, which is that survival system. Hope you guys don't mind if I take a seat here. It's cool, you got the sun rays starting to peek through the clouds a little bit. And that's how I want to think about stress right now. I don't want to think about it as, a feeling, right, because of something that aggravated us. I want us to think about when we get stressed, it is a biological response that hits our nervous system that triggers a fight, flight, or freeze reaction, and everything tied to what you would expect your body to do, actually what you would want your body to do if facing a real threat. So if you think about, if we're in a scenario where we need to fight, right? Or we're in a scenario where we need to flee, we need to run, we need to get out, right? Or sometimes we're in a scenario where neither of those functions work and our body just locks up in a state of fear and we freeze. You think of the types of things that might be going on physically in our body during, that time. And I'm not going to go through all of them, but guys, my point is I want you to know that our body physiologically changes when we're in a point of stress, right? All of a sudden we get more alert. All of a sudden our muscles, right, get ready to react. All of a sudden, right, our nervous system gets ready to respond. Certain functions in our body change, right? Hormones change in our body. The hormone of cortisol, right, starts to peak and starts to go up. Our digestive system starts to slow down and maybe even stop, so our body can reallocate energy to what we need to do to respond. Our body, our eyes, sometimes dilate. Our body actually kicks in adrenaline. Our adrenal glands produce more adrenaline when we're in a stress state. Why? Because that's what's going to allow us to react and respond and have the energy maybe to get out of a threatening situation, right? All of these things happen when our body goes into a state of stress, which are good things when we are responding to a situation that we really need to fight or really need to flee. And this system, guys, was built and ingrained in our biology. You're talking so long ago when all of a sudden, a saber-toothed tiger came out of the woods, like you had to react. But the problem is, fast forward to today, we don't have saber-toothed tigers, at least I hope not around here. We don't have a lot of the same level of life threats, but our system is still built the same way to respond. And we've now become conditioned that so many triggers can actually flip on the switch of that same system. And the trigger doesn't have to be a saber-toothed tiger. The trigger can be an Instagram post or a Facebook post. The trigger could be something somebody says on a Zoom call or on a text, right? It could be something, someone says in news or in media. And the fact that these triggers are not only so small, but so readily available, constantly, never ending in our life today, means that so many people are living in this state of constantly peaking stress. And you guys, that's the issue. And that's a challenge. And I know we all know the feeling of stress is horrible. Like, we hate the feeling of it. We don't want to be stressed out. We understand it takes us off our game or off our focus. We're not in a peak state or a happy state or a progressive state. But I want you guys to understand that when we're going through that, there's a layer deeper. Your body physically should not constantly be in that state, constantly cortisol pumping, constantly adrenaline flowing, constantly systems shutting down, constantly in a peak state, back down, peak state, back down. You wouldn't drive your car redlined for long distances over a long period of time, because we know if you're revving that car at the red line, right, something's going to happen. Something's going to give out. Something's going to bust. But so many people today in the state that we're in, we're living our life on the red line. And I'll go a layer deeper. Those triggers, those little things that cause us to go into a state of stress, the more that happens, the more we get conditioned to the response. So if it happens once, it happens. If it happens twice, it happens. But if all day long, every single day, we're constantly getting a stimuli that keys a stress response, and we do that again and again and again and again, we're actually conditioning our nervous system to continue to respond that way. And I'll go even deeper. And if you guys get this, it will get you to think, right? And it'll get you to shift. The more your body does that, the more your body starts to get addicted to that feeling. And some of you guys, I just lost. Some of you guys are like, Blake, you're crazy. Like, nobody would ever want to get addicted to the feeling of stress. We got a helicopter flying over. Give me a second. Here it goes. And guys, I would agree that if it was rational and if we had a choice, we wouldn't. We would never choose to be addicted to a stress response. We know that's not good for us. We know we should be focused on different things. But what I just said, think about it. Your body actually can get addicted to the physical response. The feeling of a heightened state, the feeling of adrenaline shooting through your body, that feeling over and over and over again, your body can get used to and your body starts to crave. And if you connect those dots of constant stimuli available to create a stress response that we do over and over and over and over and over again, pretty soon our natural normal state, our body starts to cling to, is the state of stress. And you guys, I want to raise a level of awareness to this, because at a time right now, it's easy to say, oh, there's a lot to be stressed about. It's easy to write it off, and it's easy to, maybe think that it just resides in, what we're thinking about or how we feel, and not realizing that constantly being in that state can have, guys, physical ramifications. And if that doesn't wake you up and give you a compelling reason to not only be aware, but to figure out how to shift, how to not live in that state, I don't know what else will. So by now you're sitting there going, okay, Blake, I get it. Yeah, okay, I can relate. How many guys can relate to being in a state of stress more than we should be? Having little things cause it, even know that it's ridiculous, and maybe even having it so often that maybe you're getting too used to that feeling physically than you want. Which leads to the question, well, what is the solution? What is the antidote? What is the vaccine? You guys, my feeling is to go back to what is the trigger, where the focus goes. You're not going to change your physical response, nor do you want to change your physical response. Heaven forbid you're actually in a situation where you need a fight, flight, or freeze. You want that response to be working at maximum capacity so you can get yourself out of that situation, so you can survive and thrive. It's not about changing the physical response. It's about changing the focus of what is triggering it. We have to shift from a feeling of stressed to a feeling of blessed. You guys, I think that is the solution, or the antidote, is to shift our focus or our attention from the things that give us a feeling of stress to the things that make us feel blessed. Because those focuses and those feelings are opposite. I've never been in a state or stage where I'm focused on what I'm blessed and stress at the same time. You can't. It's one or the other. They don't coexist. They don't live in the same place at the same time. They are polar opposites. So you got to make the shift from feeling stressed to feeling blessed. Well, how do you do that? Well, it's actually easier than you might think. A couple thoughts, right, on how we shift from feeling stressed to feeling blessed. First, back to you. What comes to your mind? When I say, how do you shift to feeling blessed? What are some things that you do? What are some things that make you feel that way? What are some things that snap you out of that state? What are some things that give you that focus? Give me some feedback below. I got a couple things that come to my mind. The first one, to make a shift to feeling blessed, is to focus on being a blessing to other people. Being a blessing to other people. You see, when we focus on being a blessing to others, we can't help but feel blessed ourselves. Guys, it's that whole concept of when we give, when we share, there are two recipients, the person that we are giving or sharing with, and us, because of the feeling that we get when we do so. You want to feel blessed. It's not about just what you have. It's about what you give. If you focus on being a blessing to others, helping others, lifting others up, making people feel better, telling people what they can do, anything you can do to be a blessing in somebody else's life, nothing too big, nothing too small. You guys, that's one way to make the shift from feeling stressed to feeling blessed. It's why so many people that spend their life in contribution, working with charities, spend their time and energy giving back. You notice how they feel. You notice the state that they live in, the frequency they vibrate. You notice they have less stress in their life. Why? Because they spend a lot of their life being a blessing to others, and therefore their intention, right, is bless themselves. So first thing you can do is, if you want to make the shift, just instantly go be a blessing to others. You can do it like that. You're in a state of stress, focus on someone you can do something, say something, take an action to lift them up, to be a small blessing in their life. You can do it just like that. The second way to shift focus, real simple, count your blessings. I know that's a cliche, we've heard that a million times, but do you count your blessings? If I were to ask you right now, name some of your blessings, some things you are blessed with right here, right now, no matter what's going on, no matter how crazy it is, no matter all the stuff we're going through, we all have those lists. We also have a list of blessings, each and every one of us. What are yours? And just count your blessings. When I think about blessings, off the top of my head, things that come to my mind, health, first and foremost, right? My health and the health of people I love most, right? Right now, if you're watching this, if you're breathing, right? If you're at home, you should be blessed and feel blessed for the health that you have. When I count my blessings, I think of my family, right? Top of the list. And all of us, guys, have family in our list. Some of us have bigger families, smaller families. Some of us have families by blood. Some of us have families, by relationship and love. I don't care who you call your family. We all have those units, however big or however small. That's a blessing. Relationships, right? Other friends, other relationships, people that care about you, the blessings in your life. Do you look at the people that care about you, that are there for you when you're down, that are there for you and love you for who you are? Do you look at them as blessings? All the things you have, when I'm counting my blessings, all the things you have, what you have right now. Guys, just the fact that you're watching this means you have the time to do so, means you have the phone or the computer or the device to do so, means you have the Wi-Fi access to do so. And me just knowing you're able to watch this right now means you're in the top few percent of wealth in the world, just by the nature of the fact that I know you have the ability to even watch this. Do you count that as part of your blessings? Do you focus on what you have, all that you have? When I count my blessings, I focus on what I've lost. We've talked about that in past Walk With Me's and the desire curve. But guys, that's real. I look at the things that have been lost, taken away as blessings. Well, that's a weird, distorted view. No, they're blessings. Guys, sometimes things have to be removed so that new things can be given. Sometimes things have to be taken away to create room and space for what's to come next. Sometimes things have to be taken away or you have to lose just to restore a value or a desire level for where you're intended to go. When you're counting your blessings, count the things you have, but also count the things you've lost as blessings. You guys, what are other things in your life right now that if you're counting your blessings would be on your list? So if we're going to make the shift from feeling stressed to feeling blessed, first, become a blessing to others. You can do that like that. Count your blessings. You can stop in any moment and count the things you're blessed with. And I challenge you, whenever we get into a state of stress, whatever that trigger is for you, because we all have different triggers, but I promise you we all have triggers. Whenever you get triggered, stop, pause, take some deep breaths. Ask yourself, how can you be a blessing to somebody else in that moment? And count the blessings you have in your life. Count them out in your head. Write them down. Make a list. And you're fine in that moment. If you get good at stopping, pausing, breathing, being a blessing, counting your blessings, you can shift your focus. You can shift your state. And if you shift your focus and shift your state, you won't have that trigger. You can slow down that response. And here's the good news. Just as our body gets conditioned, if constantly triggered, to have a stress reaction, and that can become our natural state, well, so can our body get conditioned to every time we do that, we focus on different things and we stop or slow that down until it no longer becomes that automatic response. It takes time, it takes effort, it takes energy. I'm in no way saying I'm an expert at this. But I am saying I think all of us would love to rather live a life where our natural state is one of blessed than one of stressed. And to do that starts with an intention. And hopefully a couple simple tools, like the tools I just gave you, that you can apply to start moving that direction. So with that, I got to get back. Sun's coming through. Look at the rays. Happy holidays to everybody. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. And hey, for this holiday season, let's not have this be a time of stress. Let's have this be a time where we feel and focus on how blessed we are. Pay it forward to others. Enjoy the time and all we have going on, despite what's going on in the world, or will continue to go on in the world. Please share your feedback below. If you guys have any other thoughts or comments or insights, I'll read every single one of them. If there's someone that came to your mind or your heart, someone that's a blessing to you constantly, give them a tag in the comments, share this with them, say thank you, or feel free to share with your peer group and your friends. And until the next time we walk together, stay safe, stay healthy, stay sane, and feel blessed this holiday season. Take care, everybody.